All right, let's talk about your cycle. For like forever, it's been painted as this thing we just have to deal with, right? A burden. But what if it's not a problem at all? What if it's actually a predictable pattern? A kind of superpower you can tap into. We're going to break down how you can start working with your hormones instead of constantly fighting against them. Seriously, does this sound familiar? One week you are on fire, you're crushing your workouts, you're nailing it at work. And the next, all you want to do is curl up on the couch and not talk to anyone. Well, guess what? That's not random. That's your biology. And once you understand the why behind these huge shifts, you can start using them to your advantage. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get the big picture with the 4 hormonal seasons. Then we're going to dive deep into each one: the reset, the rise, the peak, and the wind down. And we'll finish up by figuring out how you can turn all this info into your own personal cycle blueprint. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, probably the easiest and most powerful way to think about your cycle is to imagine it like the 4 seasons in a year, right? Each phase has its own vibe, its own hormonal climate, and that affects everything: your energy, your mood, your focus, you name it. This right here is our roadmap. Think of it like this. The whole thing kicks off with the reset, which is menstruation. That's our winter. Then we move into the rise, our spring, building up energy. That leads to the peak, which is ovulation, our summer. And finally, we have the wind down, our autumn, which brings us right back to the beginning. Let's start with winter. All right, phase 1, the reset. This is your hormonal winter. And just like in winter, this is not the time to be pushing yourself to the max. It's a time for rest, for recovery, and for thinking about what's coming next. So what's actually going on inside your body? Well, your 2 key hormones, estrogen and progesterone, have basically bottomed out. They're at their absolute lowest point. Your internal battery is literally on low charge, and that directly explains why you feel the way you do. And yeah, you can really feel those low hormone levels, can't you? Your energy is probably in the tank, you feel like you could sleep for a week, and maybe you're a bit more emotionally sensitive. That's because your body is in full-on recovery mode. It's doing important work, so we need to respect that. So, what's the plan? How do we support ourselves here? The whole theme is gentle. For your workouts, think restorative. We're talking a chill yoga class, a nice walk, nothing crazy. Food-wise, your body is losing iron, so we want to focus on warming, iron-rich foods that are easy to digest. Things like soups and cooked veggies are perfect. And for productivity, this is a great time to reflect and plan, but maybe push that high-stakes meeting to next week if you can. Okay, winter is officially over and hormonal spring is here. Welcome to phase 2, the rise. This is all about new beginnings, new growth, and building up that energy as your body gets ready to ovulate. The star of the show right now is estrogen. It's on a steady climb, and let me tell you, estrogen is an amazing hormone. It boosts your mood, gives you energy, and even makes your brain feel sharper, all while progesterone is just kind of hanging out in the background. And that surge of estrogen translates directly into how you feel. You'll notice your energy and motivation coming back, your mood gets a big lift, and your brain just feels on. It's a great time for creative thinking and problem solving. You'll probably even find yourself sleeping better, which just adds to that feeling of being ready for anything. Now is the time to use that energy. The theme here is go for it. Your body is perfectly primed for more intense workouts, so it's a fantastic window for things like running, HIIT, or lifting heavy. Fuel that with fresh, light, energizing foods. Think big salads, lean proteins. At work, this is your green light. Start that new project, schedule that brainstorm session, and get creative. And here we are, at the absolute peak of the cycle. Welcome to your hormonal summer. This is ovulation, the time when your energy, your strength, and your confidence are at an all-time high. So, what's behind this incredible peak? It's a hormonal power couple. Estrogen hits its absolute highest point, and then it's joined by a little surge in testosterone. That 1-2 punch is what fuels that on-top-of-the-world feeling. It's a biological boost for your confidence, your drive, and your raw physical power. This is when you feel like you can do anything. Your physical strength is at its max. You feel more outgoing, more social, more confident. Your libido is also at its highest. But, and this is a really important little note, those same hormonal shifts can make your ligaments a bit more relaxed. It just means you want to be extra sure to do a good warm-up before you try to hit a new personal best, just to stay safe. So, how do we cash in on this peak? The theme is maximum effort. This is the week to go for that personal record in the gym. Push yourself. Your body can handle it. Support all that hard work with plenty of protein and antioxidant-rich foods. And in the rest of your life, schedule that big presentation, ask for that raise, plan that party. Your biology is literally on your side. Okay, after that incredible peak of summer, it's time for our hormonal autumn. This is the final phase, the wind down. The energy starts to shift from outward and social to more inward and focused as your body gets ready for what's next. And here comes the big switch up. Estrogen, our high energy friend, starts to decline, and progesterone, which has a much more calming, almost sedating effect, rises up to become the dominant hormone. This changing of the guard is what's behind a lot of those classic PMS feelings. This probably looks familiar, right? That rise in progesterone can make you way more sensitive to stress. It's why you might get those cravings for carbs and comforting foods. It also slightly raises your body temperature, which can mess with your sleep. So if you're feeling any of this, know that it is 100% real. It is not just in your head. So our focus here shifts to stability and self-care. It's time to back off the super intense workouts and focus on steady movement, like a light jog or some mobility work. With food, your best friends are things that keep your blood sugar stable, so think complex carbs and healthy fats. This can really help with mood and cravings. At work, it's the perfect time to tie up loose ends and get organized for the quieter week ahead. So we've walked through the 4 seasons, we have the map, but listen, the goal here is not to follow this like some super strict set of rules. The real goal is to use this framework to start building your own personal blueprint. This is the most important part of this whole conversation. Your cycle might not be a perfect 28 days. Your energy might shift a little differently. This framework gives you the general what and why, but the real superpower comes from learning to tune in and listen to what your own body is telling you on any given day. So I want to leave you with this question. Forget what day of the month it is. Forget what your app says. Just for a second, right now, check in. With this new map in your mind, what is your body telling you it actually needs? Because listening to that, that's where the magic really starts.